so much, ladies. Are you guys excited to chip chat?
Yes.
Thank you. So, my first question to you is how your value as a millennial drive your company culture to promote purpose?
So me, I came here to start first when I was 16. I graduated high school, and then my dad was like, since you are too smart, go by yourself, go study in America. So
Wow.
I came here by myself. I started to learn engineering,
Okay.
and I got two bachelor's degree in engineering, architecture engineering and civil engineering.
Wow.
So I opened my beauty shop, which is just 10 minutes away from here, when I was 19. And I hired most of the people that was working for me was older than me.
Right.
So I've recognized that, okay, I have this drive, but people have this mentality to just work for money. But how can we work and also better ourselves? So I've have this value in my company that, okay, you cannot just come and work at the shop without going to school. You can come here and work, but you also have to have a degree for yourself.
Right.
This will not last forever. My shop will not last. If I close, what about you? So that's why I put value on them to have degrees and also to have like certification, and that's what I encourage in my shop. So now I have like many girls, some of them are nurse and some of them are engineer like me, and this is like, I'm just proud, to mentor them.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome. And for you?
Can you hear me? All right. So my name is Akinya Doyo, and my path is slightly different. So I came here just like most of us for education. I came at the age of 19, and my actually my goal was to go to school, graduate, and as I'm walking out of the stage, just go straight to the airport and go back home to Kenya. That was my hope and dream. So anyway, as fate would have it, I ended up having a family and have a son. And so Friends of Africa came through just witnessing how there's there was no space for our children, our third culture children, meaning kids that are born to us. They don't feel African enough, and because we don't give them our culture, and they don't feel American enough because they feel a bit excluded. So Friends of Africa was born out of just wanting to create that space for our children to be who they could be in terms of being African without the white gaze. So without being questioned, without being teased, they could speak. I taught them, I teach Kiswahili because that's what I know, but I encourage them to speak whatever language it is. It could be Yoruba, it could be Igbo. So it's up to us to give them our culture so that they can be who they are. So Friends of Africa, that's how it was born. In Kenya, we have Shepherd School that offers space for kids who are shepherds by day and can go to school during the day. So it's mostly just finding ways in which we can um, use what we have to to just maintain our culture and find the answers that we're looking for within what we already have. So just that's in a nutshell.
Thank you. And for you, Fanny?
So for me, I'm Fanny from Fanny's House Collection. I started my brand by it was kind of like a joke. I didn't really take it serious, but I do fashion designing as well as interior design. When I was 22, I got married, moved to Virginia. I grew up in Houston. Came from Congo when I was 12 years old. When I moved from Houston to Virginia Beach, which is where I live now, my husband's in the military, and I didn't really want to just sit at home and do nothing, and I felt like I had to create something. So I started sewing. When he has to go for like 9 months out of the year, and I'm by myself with my kids, I just started sewing, and I started a brand. So I would dress myself, go to the store, and that's how I started promoting myself, and I started getting more people that love what I used to wear. And then people started asking me to do fashion shows, and it wasn't really what I was looking for, but then it's kind of like the dream kind of came out of it. And now this is the first time I'm in Texas doing a show, and I grew up here. It's kind of like surreal for me because it's not been 5 years, and I started my brand with $50, and nobody say, Fanny, here's $1,000 invested in you, anything like that. I started this with my own money. I had one fabric, I bought some thread, I went through the thrift store, got a sewing machine, and I just started sewing. And now I'm in Hollywood dressing celebrities. Like, I just can't believe this is happening to me, you know. And tomorrow
Wow.
I'll be showcasing my collection on the runway.
Wow, congratulations to all of you ladies.
Thank
Great
you.
answers. So my second question for you ladies is, how are millennial are changing society in Africa?
Right now, I think that we are changing Africa in a better way. Because if we look how our mindset was before, then now things are changing.
Right.
We came here with a purpose to study, but we have in mind our country. I go home every year to impact my community. I have a nonprofit organization, and right now I'm building an orphanage for those kids. For me, they are like my kids. The way that I raise my son, that's the same way I want to raise them, because they didn't maybe have the chance to have parents or to have like family to impact their life. I feel like I can be that person to impact their life. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I have like, great partners that are helping me to achieve that. And I feel like we are changing the society and the mindset of people.
That's amazing. And for you, Akini?
I think millennials are doing a wonderful job moving away from the old systems of just economy and systems of domination to collaboration. For example, just having this event, Emmanuel is doing it, Jennifer, you're doing it. You guys we're doing big things. Just not just going to work 8 to 5. When the gig economy, we are starting our own businesses, and that's amazing. So millennials are doing great things, not just in the diaspora, but on the continent, especially with the creatives. So I'd just to look at what the creatives are doing, especially in the YouTube space.
Right.
The Wademeyers of Africa, the Jennifers
Yeah.
of Africa.
The
So
influencers.
yeah, so there's so much that's being
Absolutely.
done in that generation.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like social media has been a platform that all of us are using
Right.
to be able to put our brand out there. I remember when I came here, I was little. We didn't really have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Now there's many ways of us to promote what it is that we do in our daily life with our brand and with what it is that we're selling to the community. And for myself, I couldn't do it no other way, because if I think about how my mom or my dad did things back in the days, it's not the same way we're doing things now. So definitely we are changing.
Right, and I think also one thing that I want to piggyback on is we're able to connect globally through social media, and that's big for our continent as well. You're able to see what my cousin from Goma is doing, or what business she's starting, or how her clothing store is going. So I really appreciate social media for giving us that opportunity as well. So our next question is, how's the millennial mindset is shaping the future of work?
I think right now we are dreaming big. Most of us that came here, especially by ourselves or maybe with families, are dreaming big. How come can we explain that? There is many American here in America are millionaires, but us as African that comes from Africa just have regular job. Our mindset has changed. We want to do better. We want to impact our community, and we want also to be, some people like in the African community to be like, okay, we are changing things here in America, and that is impacting Africa.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what about you?
Um, so, so I think about when you ask that question, I think about yesterday I was in a room with Brené Brown, who does vulnerability. And one thing that she mentioned is we cannot be creative without being vulnerable. We cannot be courageous without being vulnerable. And I think the mindset of millennials is such that they are allowing themselves to be vulnerable enough to be able to create. You know, for you to leave Houston to go to, you know, Maryland, exactly, to Virginia, and have your business, and for you to start, you know, your business at 19, you know, that's amazing. So I think just the courage to be, to not be comfortable, and just go that extra mile and do what hasn't been done before, I think is what the mindset has moved towards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you say the
Repeat the
question again?
question?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, so how the millennial mindset is shaping the future of work.
For me, I don't see myself working for anybody. I want to own businesses, not just in the fashion industry, but I want to grow and do bigger things even back home in Africa. But I'm using what I have now as a platform to move me to the next level. So, like I said, for me, I'd rather be self-employed. I want to be a boss. I want to have my own versus working for another company, growing someone else's dream. Because I have children, and I want to be able to make sure I'm leaving my legacy behind to them. So that way, if that's the route they choose to continue, then that's it. But at least want to set those stepping stones for them to be able to grow and know that mommy did this for us. Now, either we're going to be our own bosses or continue what mommy started. So I don't want to work for anybody by myself.
Awesome, awesome. And a little thing that I want to piggyback, you know, I worked also in corporate, and I feel like us millennial, we, some of the systems that are in place in corporation are a little different. With millennial, they add more activities, are more fun to an office and things like that, and that really changed the future of the workspace, because you don't want to go to a meeting where it's boring. They have more parties and stuff like that. So that's more bringing some fun to work. So my final question for you ladies is, how important is mental health to millennial?
There is something that I cannot stress more than finding your own happiness. So in my shop, sometime on weekdays when we are not too busy, I make sure that the girls have a talk to each other to find what we're really passionate about. We always find this, we are stuck in this mindset. Of course, our parents want us to be good. They want us to go to school. They have expectation. But what do we want to do? So that's why finding that joy, okay, I want to go to school too, because that's what I'm encouraging, you know, my girls to do. But find something that you are passionate about, and you will find peace on yourself.
Right.
Like, you wake up without anxiety. You don't have anxiety to go to work. You don't have anxiety to be with your coworker. I want the girls, when they come to my shop, to be happy to be with each other.
Right.
Because it's a family that we're creating.
It's
you
a
know?
culture.
Yes.
Right.
So that's why I always encouraging people, like, to find peace of what they want to do, and then you just, when you wake up, you are grateful, like you are alive, and your mental health is like in peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect response. Finding joy is a huge part of mental health. And what I'm seeing amongst millennial is ways in which we can decolonize therapy, meaning we're not making it an individual thing. We're recognizing that our environment is what causes us to be anxious, to be depressed, to be, you know, all these things. So it's about the environment. So just to add to that, it's really mostly decolonizing therapy.
For me, I believe mental health is very important. We have to take care of ourselves. Sometimes we overwhelm with working. You don't just take time to stop and breathe. And I tend to do that myself. I'll be taking orders, and I have like 25 clients to take care of, but I'm forgetting to take care of me, because everything starts with you.
Right.
If you take care of you, you'll be able to take care of everybody else. So I started to take time. My kids will be like, Mommy, did you drink water today? Did you take care of yourself? You just have to take time for you and breathe. Make sure you are mentally stable to be able to take on those work that you have to accomplish. That all the expectation everybody have of you, you have to make sure you set that aside and take care of you first.
Right. And I also think in our community, therapy is not really something that a lot of people do, but us as millennial, a lot of African, a lot of younger generation, they're taking those steps to go see a counselor or to write out a journal, which I think it's great also, because mental health is really important. Like you all ladies said, if you're not happy with yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of a company or a corporation. So my final question before we stop, before we go, I have one more question for you ladies. If you were president today as a millennial, how can you make your work or your world different?
So I think for me, I will empower younger generation to be their own boss.
Okay.
To be their own boss, because we are stuck in this mindset that, okay, when I finish school, I have to go work for a company, which is great for other people, but there is talents within us that we don't know about. I didn't know that I was a great businesswoman until I started one day. So that's what I would encourage younger generation to do.
Awesome. And for you?
For me, I'd probably start with culture, since I'm passionate about culture. So I will probably, maybe attempt to have, events like this in our own different languages, whether it's, Shona or or Kiswahili or the Luo. It's. I think there's so much value in what we are moving away from, and I think we need to slow down and find those solutions in what we already have. So that would be
Awesome.
culture.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to what she said because I was thinking the same thing. But as for me, I feel like if I was to be a president today, how will I move the future?
Yes.
I would just like to empower young women. A lot of time, young girls, they look up to us, and we have to be role models. Like for me, I'm teaching my daughter that this is what I do. You can be your own. You don't have to wait for a guy to come and take you, marry, and that's it. You have to be able to chase your own dreams and follow your heart and do what makes you happy. So.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. Let's give a round of applause for these beautiful millennial. Thank you so much, guys.